Hey everybody, it's Annette. Super Bowl Sunday, and I've been up for 12 hours and I'm exhausted. The main thing is that I got it up for my husband. I went ahead and paid for the 1 month of Peacock because we did not have that. And I said, I'm treating you to it. It was like, I think 4 or 5 years ago, it was $4.99, and then it was double that because you had to have Peacock Plus. Uh, you know how they do. They keep trying to nickel and dime everything, no matter who it is or what platform it is. But he's happy. I'm happy. Ladies, that's what you do. Make sure your husband can see his football or whatever it is he wants to see. And if you don't have the subscription, go ahead and take it out and then cancel it before it renews next month if it's not something you're going to be enjoying every day. So since I'm exhausted and I don't know how much longer I'll stay up, we were up early. We went to prepare the elements for communion. This was my first Sunday as a deacon, being able to set up the communion and then serve it to the people who came up for it. It was awesome. It really was. I've always been, because this is my first time being a deacon, I've always been the one receiving the communion from a deacon, and then being there and being able to provide that to someone, to other people, it really felt good. And I tried, I've struggled over the past, I don't know how many years, I think since I left the university. At the university, I made it a mission to learn as many names as I could. We had maybe 400 staff and faculty, and I made an intentional effort to study. We'd have the directory, and you could go on there and look people up alphabetically, and I would just scroll down faces and names and lock them in and keep doing that. And then I learned many people. There were very few instances I did not know their names. So I've had to do the same thing with the directory. I think I hit maybe 80% of the people who came through my line, being able to address them by name. And I think that's just important. I think it means more. I may be wrong. I don't know, but that's what I like to do when I'm talking to people. It's just something that always seemed to make uh, conversations and in passing to acknowledge someone by his or her name. So what I want to talk about, since I'm going to do a little fun thing tonight, I guess. Obviously, at the time it happened, it was not fun. But I don't know how many horror stories people have out there. And I don't know if anybody can top mine for the absolute worst interview I've ever had. And this has been years ago. It's been enough years ago to where it doesn't matter. Even if it was like yesterday, it wouldn't matter. But it's been about 7 years. So I had lost my position at the hospital. I was working in a distribution center that I hated what I was doing. And this opening came up for an executive assistant to a director at a local government entity. I just leave it at that. So I took a day off of work, did not tell them why, did not care. I just took the day. Had gone shopping, had secured the interview dress, interview handbag, and interview shoes because you know what they say, dress for the job you want. And executive assistant to a director was an important position. I've been doing administrative work, office work I've got a total of 18 years under my belt. At the time, I don't know how many I had. It may have been 16 or 17, but I went there dressed to the nines, ready to do my interview, was sitting in the lobby, and then they had a tornado warning. And so we just were taken to a place. They had a lower part of the building we were taken to, and then it passed. And when I went into the interview, when I got called into the interview, and the director came in, he had his administrative assistant with him. I should have, well, I did automatically notice the weird because he was saying sorry about that, the tornado warning, and I'm like, I'm so used to it, I've gotten impervious to it by now. What do you mean? I said, well, they come through our area a lot. I mean, they really do. For some reason, there's a stretch between two different areas in our demographic that when tornadoes hit, they seem to prefer those areas. I can't explain it. I don't know. I'm not a meteorologist. I don't understand the dynamics of a tornado. I just know there are certain paths. Living here as long as I've lived, they're going to go, as a rule, one of two directions, and they usually do with much consistency. So he said, why do they hit your area so much? I was like, I don't know. They just do. I said, I don't know. I thought that was a weird question, and that was a for real question. So, like, I had been outside doing some, I don't know, tornado summoning or spell or something. I really don't know why he asked that. So, of course, you bring copies of your resume, you hand the resume to him, hand one to the administrative assistant, and you're ready to talk about your skill sets. So I was talking about how I had worked at the hospital, and then because of the position getting eliminated, I was now working in another field, but I wanted to go back into the administrative assistant role. And he said, well, you're talking highly of that company that you left, meaning the hospital. I said, yeah. What was I supposed to do? Smack talk it? That's a big interview ending thing. And number one, I didn't have a problem with it. I mean, I was disappointed that the position got eliminated, but I didn't have any animosity towards my supervisor or anybody there. They gave me a good severance. My supervisor, the director of that department, gave me, on more than one occasion while I was looking for work, positive references, letter of recommendations, things that I needed. So even if it's a place you hate, one of the top rules of interviewing is you do not talk badly about the last place you left. So the fact that he was kind of butthurt, I don't know how to describe it, that I was talking positively about a place that I was no longer working, I found that odd. So I'm waiting on the questions that will ask me about my qualifications, what I can bring to the department, how I can assist, if I have, my skill sets that I possess, that I can help be a good executive assistant for him. The question that I got, kid you not, how is your coffee? And I said, I don't know. How do you like your coffee? I'm not a mind reader. I don't know. I've brewed a gazillion cups of coffee in the past, or pots of coffee, depending on what machine we had it in the office, because normally when you're administrative assistant, you have people walking in and out, and you have the coffee machine in there, and you have the coffee ready for the boss, you have the coffee ready for the professors who come in. It's just what you do. You don't think about it. You have a cup of coffee for yourself if you want it. But when I said, I don't know, how do you like your coffee? He said, well, I just wanted to see if you're the kind of person who wouldn't feel that it's beneath her to make coffee if I needed a cup of coffee. I said, no, of course not. I said, I've been in food service. I've got years of food service behind me. I am used to serving food and beverage to people. I said, I have no problem with coffee. I said, you would just have to communicate with me how you like your coffee. But no, that is not beneath me to do that. And the interview did not progress much better than that. He kept asking questions that just, he never really got to my skill sets. The one thing that he said, and as we were going into this interview, he said, if you get selected, you would be assigned a laptop and a cell phone. And he said, now, if I have an idea on the weekend and I call you on that company cell phone, I expect you to pick it up. Right then in my mind, I'm like, uh, uh-uh. He doesn't want an administrative assistant. He wants a babysitter. He wants a mama. And he had stepped out, and I had some time alone with the administrative assistant, and I said, so how have you handled, assisting him over these years, instead of, how in the God's name did you stand it? Because you got to have a filter when you're interviewing. And she said, people just want to be heard. I'm like, okay. So, left the interview and got home and sent an email and withdrew myself from consideration, because I'd rather work in that hellhole distribution center than to work for somebody who wants a mama, babysitter, maid, whatever. Number one, no man, and I was married at the time to my second husband, still married to him. He's the one I paid for the football for, remember? I'm like, there is no man I am not wed to who is going to demand that I pick up the phone for him on the weekend, anytime he calls. You, sir, do not have the right. You are not wed to me. My own husband does not speak to me that way. My husband treats me with respect. I'll be danged if just because you're signing a paycheck or you're proving a time card, I'm going to take that from another man. So, withdrew, did not go there, spent more time in the crappy distribution position I didn't like, and then ended up finding another position that it was much better than that one. I can imagine any day working for that person would have been hell, perpetual stress, and unimaginable. So, interview for the job that you want. Dress for the job you want. Be professional. But not every interviewer is a good interviewer. If you're picking up weird vibes, negative energies, any red flags at all, if you're already in a position, if you can put up with that position a little bit longer, Keep your money, your benefits, and what's left of your sanity. Stay there and find something better. Do not be afraid to withdraw from consideration for something that is going to be going from one place you hate to another place that is going to stress you and affect your health in a negative way. I cannot imagine anyone staying there any length of time. The one that he had been there several years, but he had had other admins coming in to help, and he said he couldn't keep them. I wonder why. So the woman who was helping him was apparently someone who was very passive, very just was able to cater to his every whim and his every ego feeding moment. That's not what being an administrative or executive assistant is about. So anyway, that is the story of my worst interview ever. The only one that ever went that badly. I've had some that were not good. This one was by far the worst. So if you're out there on the market looking, know what you deserve, know your value, and know that you are not a doormat. Love y'all. Take care. Have a good weekend.